guys, it's Daniela again and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hello. So for today's video I'm going to be testing some new products that I recently bought. It's not a full face of new products, but where I don't have a new product, I'm going to be placing in a product that I'm either testing still or that I just haven't used in a while. So all the products I'm going to be using today are all drugstore, they're all very affordable, and yeah, I really hope you're excited about this video, and let's get started. So I'm going to start off with my eyes first, and I do have a new palette from Primark. So this is the PS Honey eyeshadow palette. This costs £5. I really like the component of this. It's like a rubber component. It's not like plastic or cardboard, it's actually rubber. And it says honey at the front, and then this is what it looks like inside. It is a little bit harder to open. This is what the eyeshadows inside look like. I really like the colour scheme, and that's why I got it. There are actually a few more of these. I believe there's 3 in this collection. I think there's honey, cherry, and something else. But honey was the one that kind of drew me in, so I bought this one. So I'm going to prime my eyes with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I've been really enjoying this concealer, like a lot. So I'm just setting my concealer with a little bit of the Maybelline Fit Me loose setting powder. So the first colour I'm going to go in with is this one here, which is called Nectar. And I'm just going to put this all over my crease. Has a little bit of fallout. Okay, it's not a super pigmented eyeshadow, like it's not like one swipe and it's there. You do have to kind of build it up, but maybe it's because of the like tone of shadow. Now I'm going to go in with the colour Honey, which is this one. I'm just going to try and use as many shades as I can. That one's a lot more pigmented than the first shadow I used. So now I'm going to go in with the colour Bear, which is this one here. And I'm just going to put this on the outer V. I think these palettes were meant to like copy the Urban Decay Honey palette, the Urban Decay Cherry palette. There is a lot of fallout in this palette, by the way. So I'm just going back in with the colour Honey just to blend out some edges. So I'm going to go in with the colour Sweet, which is this one here. Just on like the outer part of the shadow. There doesn't seem to be any like blending issues or patchiness or anything like that. Okay, so these are the shimmers in this palette. So not bad. The last one is like a sheen. Not really a shimmer. They're not bad. They're not the best though. So I'm going to go in with the colour Golden, which is this one here. And I'm just going to place this all over my lids. I'm going to try it dry first, and then I will go in and wet it if I need to. Yeah, I definitely think it will perform better wet. It's so much better when you wet it. Like 100 times better. It's a really pretty colour. I'm going to leave the eyes where they're at now, and I'm going to come back to them once I finish the rest of my makeup, and maybe I'll add something more from this palette. But so far it seems like a good palette. So now I'm going to prime my face with the PS Hydrate Enriched Skin Primer. This is just like a really good moisturising primer. I really like this actually. This actually reminds me a little bit less hydrating, but it still reminds me of the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. I think it's the consistency. So now for foundation, I'm going to go in with the PS My Perfect Colour Glow Foundation. I've got the colour Cool Sand. I haven't used this in a while, so I cannot remember how I feel about it at all. I know the dropper doesn't work, that's one thing. I really don't like doing this, but the dropper doesn't work. Wow, I don't remember it being that low of coverage. From what I do remember about this foundation is that it says it's glowy, but I don't think it's a glow foundation at all. I feel like I just went in with quite a lot of foundation, and I don't really have like the greatest of coverage. Like I definitely have coverage, but it's just, I used a lot to get this amount of coverage. I don't know how I feel about this foundation. One, it's definitely too light for me, so that might be the reason why I'm not overly in love with it. So for concealer, I'm using the e.l.f. one. So on this pimple here, I'm going to use the PS Ultra Long Wear Concealer. I actually really like this concealer for when I'm not wearing foundation. It's not one that I wear when I'm doing like full beat like today. This is the concealer that I used for my no foundation routine. So now I'm going in with my cream bronzer, which is also from Primark. It's the Bronze Whip. Yeah, this foundation does not look great. Maybe it's because of the primer that I use. This foundation just doesn't work well with the primer. It's not sitting great around like my nose and my mouth area. Now to set this all in place, I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me powder. So now I'm going in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Okay, I'm going to go in with this. This is the PS Chocolate Cheek palette. I don't think they have this anymore. I'm going to go in with the bronzer, which is this one here. So now for blush, I'm going to go in with this one. This is the PS Blusher in Adored. So now for highlight, I'm just going to go in with the highlight shade from this palette here. For setting spray, I have the e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Mist Setting Spray. It's a really fine mist. Now I'm going to do my brows. So I'm using a new brow product from Primark. I cannot for the life of me find my skinny brow pencil in Primark anymore. I don't know if they're discontinuing it or they're just constantly sold out, but I cannot find it anymore. So I thought I would get this. This is the PS 3-in-1 brow. So it's got a brow gel, a brow powder and a brow pencil. So I'm going to go in first with the brow pencil. I'm going to comb my eyebrows up a little bit. Okay, so this brow pencil is in this kind of shape. Kind of like the ABH one and the Benefit one. I can't remember what one it's called. But it's not like the pointed one. It's the one that kind of looks like a triangle. Okay, so that setting spray has really melted all the powders into my skin and just brought a little bit more life back to my skin. It looks less like powdery and matte. It looks more like skin-like now. And it actually looks a lot better. Not the best, but it looks a lot better around my mouth. That was so easy to do, and I've filled in my eyebrows. Like, that was so easy to use, honestly. Okay, so now I'm going to use the powder part. I don't ever use powder on my brows, but I'm just going to go in and kind of brush it through the tail. So now I'm going to use the brow gel. I wish it was a clear brow gel, just because this might look very intense, but I'm going to see. It's got a really small spoolie, which I can appreciate. So I'm going to go real light-handed, just so it's not super intense. It's a good colour for my brows. My eyebrows look super intense. Obviously my brows are quite intense naturally, so if I use like a powder, a pen and brow gel, it can look even more intense. So for my lower lash line, I'm going to go in with this bright yellow here, which is called Sweet. It might not even really show up. If it doesn't, I'll go in with another colour. So that didn't really show up, so I'm going to go in with the colour Honey instead and see if that works. So now I'm going to go in with the colour Bear, which is this one here. I'm just placing this one on the outer part of my lower lash line. I am keeping this colour close to my lashes. I'm not going to blow this one out as much as I did the yellow. So I just went off camera just to finish off the rest of my makeup. So I did my lashes. I actually bought some lashes from Primark. So the ones I ended up using was the Double Trouble £1 ones. But I actually ended up buying a few more as well. I bought the 3D Iconic lashes and I bought the £1 the Edge Flutter lashes. So I ended up going with the Double Trouble one, which I actually really like. They're a little bit difficult to put on, but I just think it's because I'm usually used to like winged out lashes, where this isn't winged out at all. They're much more like dense and taller at the middle of my eye, if that makes sense. In my inner corner, I ended up using this shade as well. And I put black liner in my waterline. I also added lip liner while I was off camera. I did the NYX lip liner in Sugar Glass. Alongside it, I used Cocoa. So for my lipstick, I do have a new lipstick from Primark. So this is the Satin Luxe Intense Pigment Ultra Glossy Nourishing Lipstick in Nude. So it looks like this. It's actually a metallic component, which I like. And the colour seems like it's going to be a colour I like. So let's see. Yeah, it's going to be a colour that I like, I reckon. The formula seems really nourishing, and it did just like glide on my lips, so yeah, I would say it is nourishing. Okay, so now for lip gloss, I've got the PS Lip Plumper. This was £3, and I've never tried really a lip plumper, so let's have a go. So it looks like this. So really pretty, like, looks like it's going to be really nice and shimmery, so let's see. I can feel a little bit of something.
A few moments later.
This is low-key getting uncomfortable. It feels like really stingy. Like, it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't feel comfortable. I can only really feel it on like my top lip and not my bottom lip. I want to see if I can add a bit more to my bottom lip. Okay, so now for the last bit, I'm just going to use my setting spray again. So this is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Mist Setting Spray. The scent isn't my favourite. It's not the worst, but it's got definitely a scent. Okay, so my first impressions on this palette is I like the colours. I do like the colour scheme. That's why I bought it. I wanted to be able to create these kind of looks with this palette. It is very like powdery, so you do get a lot of kickback. It's not intensely pigmented, but you can build it up. But it's not like off the bat straight loads of pigment. But I do feel like maybe it's because of the color scheme, because these are much more muted colors. Like the most vibrant color here is this yellow. It isn't like the best formula. You can see it's pretty chalky, but once you blend it out on your eyes, it performs pretty well. I wouldn't say this formula is on par with my e.l.f. Bite Size palettes, but it's not a bad formula at all. If you wanted to buy the Urban Decay Honey palette, but you just don't want to fork out for a palette that you don't know if you'll use because of the color scheme, or for whatever reason you don't want to buy that one, I would say this is a good alternative, because you probably could get the same looks that you would create with the Urban Decay one. You could probably create that with this palette. If you want a palette in this color scheme, you won't be disappointed. You just have to build up the mattes a little bit more, and the shimmers, I would say use a wet brush or use your fingers for sure. It's not a bad palette at all, and I can't really fault it. It's £5 and I like the color scheme, so for me it's not a bad palette. The lipstick I actually really like. I feel like this is a color that I'm going to reach for, and a formula that I really like as well. The lip gloss is still tingling. It's still like uncomfortable. The lashes are really nice actually. These lashes are only £1 and they performed really well. Like, I like how they look on my eyes. Oh, the setting spray I really like. Obviously I'm going to keep using it, but I do like how fine the mist is. I'm not that big of a fan of the smell, but I do like the mist, and I like how it made my skin look a little bit less matte and less like powdery. It just brought life back to my skin. The brow pencil, I'm actually really surprised that I like this. I did not expect to like it as much as my skinny brow pencil, and obviously right now I don't know if that's the case, but I really liked how quick this was and how like precise, even though it's much bigger. And I actually really like the formula of this part, the brow pencil. The majority of the products I use today I like. The only product I'm not that keen on is the lip plumper. It just doesn't feel very comfortable, but I don't know what I expected for a lip plumper, but it just feels a little bit like stingy. But everything else I enjoyed using. There's not one product that I'm just like, oh no, I don't like you. So yeah guys, these are my first impressions on these new products that I recently got in. Obviously all the products I use today I am going to keep using, and I'll let you know maybe in a speed reviews video. I think I'm going to do that and combine my recent first impressions and this one and put them together and let you know what I think about all the products I used in those videos. So yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. Join the fam. Like the video if you like these kind of videos, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.